Upon undergoing this module, the students can come to know the important aspects of IPCL method of teaching, which includes genesis, concepts, approach, curriculum, and development of material as per the concept. In the year 1987, the Government of India instituted 5 technology missions: telecommunication, immunization, drinking water, literacy, oil seeds, as an offshoot of the 7th 5-year plan, that is 1988 to 1993, to take the advantage of ongoing scientific development worldwide for effectively addressing the problems of some of the critical areas which may have massive impact on the welfare of common citizens. Subsequently, one more mission was launched for dairy, as desired by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and Sam Pitroda, the advisor to Prime Minister on technology missions. These missions focused immensely on certain pre-identified areas of national development. The target set for the literacy mission was to teach around 80 million people in the age group of 15 to 35 years, which is around 75% of the adult illiterates, to read and write at the rate of 10 million each year. In view of achieving this Herculean task, Government of India launched National Literacy Mission as a nationwide program on 5th May 1988, following the success of the area's specific time-bound, voluntary-based campaign approach, first in Kottayam city and then in Ernakulam district in Kerala in 1990. NLM also adopted the literacy campaigns as the dominant strategy for achieving its immediate target of imparting functional literacy to around 80 million adults in the age group of 15 to 35 years over a period of next 8 years. IPCL method of teaching was adopted during the Total Literacy Campaign, which was famously called TLC phase, to achieve the desired result within the specified time period. It is based on certain basic conceptual notions that all adults are not uniformly endowed. They do not also learn at a uniform pace, and their ingenuity for learning, receptivity, and retentivity are varied. The teaching learning materials used in IPCL method is developed keeping certain fundamental conceptual establishment that adult learners are motivated to learn better if the duration of the learning is neither too long nor too short. The content of the material is in conformity with the learner's needs, and the learners are able to perceive the progress of learning from stage to stage. As a technology mission, NLM, since its inception, attempted to demonstrate the use of science, technology, and management for tackling the enormous task through large scale, area specific, volunteer based, time bound, cost effective, and outcome oriented total literacy campaign. Analysis of previous programs and experiments being undertaken in the field of adult education and literacy in and outside the country by NLM revealed the fact that the success of any literacy movement largely depends on certain crucial factors such as high personal motivation of learners and instructors, systematic teaching and learning, high quality of program content, visibility of success in learning, and optimum program duration. Evaluation of adult education programs in some of the educationally better endowed as well as backward states like Bihar, Gujarat, Odisha, earlier called Odisha, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and Tamil Nadu further corroborated the relationship between the motivation, learning outcome, and duration of the program. It also underlined that faster decline in attendance in adult education centers sets in after 3 or 4 months of starting of the centers. Longer duration does not necessarily increase the achievement. That is, there is no additional gain in learning after certain duration, and shorter learning period is seen to result in higher output at lesser costs. These findings compelled NLM to have a fresh look at the whole gamut of adult education in the country, which resulted in the holding of workshops, seminars, and meetings involving top level adult educationists, pedagogists, linguists, officials, and field workers. The workshop conducted at Pune in July 1988 and at Indore in November 1988 arrived at the conclusion that the literacy norms set by NLM are achievable in 200 hours, provided there are better teaching learning materials, active and interesting teaching methods, motivated instructors, and timely supply of materials. Under the light of these conclusions, 3 more important meetings were held in quick succession. One was in January 1989 at New Delhi, in which the state directors of adult education and state resource centers participated. The second one was in June 1989 at New Delhi, in which the educational experts were the participants. And the third one was NLMA Executive Committee in June 1989 at Bengaluru, then called Bangalore. These meetings helped all the stakeholders to arrive at a broad consensus that owing to the short-lived motivation of learners, smaller duration courses for literacy with intensive learning have better prospects of success. In other words, experts were of the view that higher quality inputs should compensate for what is lost in terms of time. Hence, a new techno-pedagogic approach known as the improved pace and content of learning IPCL method of teaching was introduced during TLC phase to enhance the quality of learning materials while shortening the time span for achieving the NLM norms of functional literacy. Probably, with some improvements, the Naya Savera technique of teaching developed and practiced by Lucknow Literacy House provided the basis to realize all these findings. By the year 2002, the Total Literacy Campaign was implemented in 596 districts of the total 600 districts in the country. The success of TLCs was on several counts, including adoption of IPCL method of teaching and on one hand, and its focus on imparting functional literacy on the other hand. Adoption of improved pace and content of learning method of teaching in fact reduced the duration of the learning from 500 hours to a minimal 200 hours and thereby successfully increased the pace of entire campaign and widened the coverage area both in terms of persons to be taught in a specified time and area to be covered. What is the concept of IPCL? As a pedagogical concept of IPCL is the output of a long and serious thinking which attempts to provide an answer to the problems of slow and poor learning. According to it, learning would be qualitatively better and faster if certain conditions are fulfilled, which are as follows. There should be heightened motivation and volunteerism among the instructors. The short lived motivation of learners is fully exploited for learning. Learners' motivation should be sustained through improved materials. Learning should be a joyful, robust, lively, and confidence building activity. It is to be noted that psychological satisfaction is essential in sustaining the motivation of an adult in the learning as easy and rewarding. It is expected that the above steps will improve the pace of learning. IPCL approach. IPCL was introduced not only as a method of teaching but an essential approach for launching a successful literacy campaign. It analyzed the methodologies used in the past and took important elements that suit the ongoing adult education program in the country. Creating motivation, its sustenance, and confidence building activities formed the cornerstone of the IPCL approach. The following points signify the IPCL approach in brief. Creation of proper environment for launching a program. Identification of learners and planning their coverage during the program and resources. Training of instructors for voluntary service. Development of integrated and graded material for learners and volunteers. Making the learning process a joyful and rewarding activity. Completion of each learning session in 200 hours spread over 6 months. Conducting formative and summative evaluation unobstructively and in festive atmosphere. And lastly, assured provision for re-entry and further learning. The net result of this approach is visualized as credible and comparable high quality of learning outcomes in shorter period. IPCL curriculum. Inclusion of the very concept of functional literacy, which was much more than merely acquiring the ability of reading, writing, and numeracy, formed the basis of the development of IPCL curriculum. Going beyond the existing concepts of 3 R's, that is, reading, writing, and arithmetic, the functional literacy stood for achieving self reliance in literacy and numeracy, becoming aware of the cause of deprivation, and moving towards amelioration of oppressive conditions through organization and participation in the process of development. Acquisition of skills to improve the economic status and general well being, and imbibing the values of national integration, conservation of environment, women's equality, observation of small family norms, etc. Reading, writing, and numeracy, that is simple arithmetic popularly quoted as 3 R's, too has a specific meaning in terms of abilities to be acquired by a new literate, which is as follows. Reading. Reading aloud with normal accent and at a speed of 30 words a minute, a simple passage on a topic of interest to the learner. Silent reading at 35 words a minute of small paragraphs in simple language, reading with understanding the road signs, posters, simple instructions, and newspapers, broadsheets designed for new literates. Ability to follow simple written passages relating to one's working and living environment. Now we see writing. Copying with understanding, 7 words a minute. Taking dictation at 5 words a minute. Writing with proper spacing and alignment. Writing independently short letters and applications and filling in forms of day-to-day use of the learner. Now, Next is numeracy. Reading and writing numerals 1 to 100. Doing simple calculations without fraction involving addition and subtractions up to 3 digits, and multiplication and division by 2 digits. Working knowledge of metric units, weights, measures, currency, distance, area, and unit of time. Broad idea of proportion and interest, not involving fractions, and their use of practical situations. Entire IPCL curriculum revolves around the program goal set by the National Literacy Mission, so that it helps not only in transacting skills but also imparts awareness and develops functionality as well. In adult education parlance, scholars often use the term FANV to indicate what has to be achieved. In short, the term stands for functionality, awareness, and national values. In the context of improved pace and content of learning, functionality means that whatever information or knowledge is transferred would be utility oriented or of practical value. The learners should be able to use it in their life or work situation in the immediate future for personal and social development. Thus, functional information or knowledge can be from the areas of literacy skills, life skills, income generative skills, etc. Awareness means critical understanding of social conditions in which the learners live and work. This would involve understanding of the factors contributing to their existing predicament and problems and finding ways to solve them for betterment of life. National values means the inculcation of issues of national importance like national integration, conservation of environment, women empowerment, population education, small family norms, etc. The content of IPCL curriculum is broadly classified into two types, that is core content and locally relevant content. Core content includes national values like national integration, women's equality, population education, conservation of environment, and development of scientific temper. As part of locally relevant content, the scholars expected the curriculum to be decided by the program organizers, academic subcommittee of the district academic committee, and the material writers, etc., who by virtue of their experience and background understand the local needs of the learners. Besides the core and locally relevant contents, the IPCL curriculum also gives due coverage to the topics that provides for entertaining, interesting, and joyful reading. The table gives a list of some specific topics which are essentially covered in the IPCL curriculum primers. Functional literacy. Under core content, main areas: national integration, specific topics: communal harmony, equality of all people, humanistic approach to caste, equal rights to all, democracy, unity in diversity, our heritage, freedom struggle in India, life sketches of freedom fighters, geography of India, etc. Locally relevant content. What is the main area? Health services. The specific topics: need to keep the baby clean, need to keep the house and surroundings clean, safe drinking water, prevention of diarrhea, nutrition deficiency problems, low cost nutritious food, first aid, tuberculosis, spitting, defecating, urinating indiscriminately, etc. Now, if you take women's equality, what is the specific topic? Women and men are equal. Women's role in decision making, right of women to take up non-stereotyped roles, credit to women's traditional work, education of girls, life sketch of women noted for their contributions, property rights of women, legal rights of women, equal wages for equal work, welfare programs, women's development, agencies helping women. What is the local relevant content? Main area is social issues. What is the specific topics to be taught in this? Drinking, indebtedness, bonded labor, child marriage, female infanticide, Devadasi custom, history and geography of district and state, etc. Now, under conservation of environment, grow more trees, bad effects of deforestation, air pollution and its prevention, people's relationship with environment, etc. Non-core, locally relevant areas may we can have economic issues, developmental programs, loan facilities, cooperation, money order, form, bank and official forms, etc. The same way, population education. In this, small family is a happy family, right of age for marriage, delayed arrival of the first baby, spacing between two children, boys and girls are equal, mother's care, child care, and immunization, customs and beliefs related to mother and child's health issues, male and female babies, effects of population growth on resources, development, etc. Under entertainment, you can have poems, stories, fictions, jokes, puzzles, picture stories, games, etc. Development of scientific temper, superstitions, taboos, and beliefs, solar eclipse, etc. can be discussed. Now we can see approach to the development of IPCL material. Key aspects of approach to the development of IPCL materials are generation of interest, motivation, and confidence among the learners and volunteers, inclusion of core contents which are sacrosanct, indispensable, and irreducible, manageability of material development, production, distribution, and utilization, cross-country comparison of learning outcomes. In order to strengthen these aspects of the approach, the decision taken was that the teaching learning materials thus prepared should have the following characteristics. The learning continuum leading to NLM norm should be divided into 3 levels. For each level, there should be a book. The entire content should be divided into small manageable units and graded from simple to difficult. Literacy and numeracy, drills and exercise tests, and evaluation and certification must be integrated. Besides the nationally important core content and locally relevant content should be provided in the materials all over the country. Keeping the above basic pedagogical constraint in view, certain guidelines were issued by the National Literacy Mission which need to be followed at the time of preparation of any teaching learning materials for the improved pace and content of learning way of teaching. They are as indicated. There are 3 sets of primers, each primer being an improvement on the other in terms of progression. Each primer is an integrated one in the sense that it combines workbook, exercise book, tools of evaluation of learning outcome, certification, etc. The primers are prepared through workshops involving creative thinkers, writers, linguists, and artists, pre-tested and their suitability affirmed before actual application. There are exercises at the end of every lesson and 3 tests in each primer. The entire exercise is based on the principle of self-evaluation and confidence rather than competition-oriented evaluation. The tests are intended to be simple, non-threatening, and participative. Every learner is free to attain the desired level according to his or her leisure and convenience. It is, however, expected that the learner should be able to complete all the 3 primers within the overall duration of 200 hours spread over 6 to 8 months. Hence, to enable every learner to achieve measurable levels of literacy, the whole curriculum specified under IPCL has been translated in the shape of a set of multi-graded and integrated teaching learning materials and training. In order to ensure the materials developed for adult education follow the prescribed norms under the IPCL, the NLM constituted a national level IPCL advisory group review committee for examination, approval of teaching learning materials designed by the state resource centers, regional resource centers, Zilla Sakshata Samitis and other organizations. Before any material is released for use by the learners, the approval of the teaching learning material by this group was made compulsory. The members of this committee were eminent writers, adult educationists, and field functionaries having long experience of preparing teaching learning material. So far as the planning of contents for all the 3 parts of IPCL primer is concerned, each lesson in the primer is divided into 2 major sections, a learning section and a practical section. Each of these sections is further divided into small subsections in a meaningful way as shown in the picture. Unlike children, teaching skills has always been a tough task, as many a time they give less priority to acquiring literacy skills in view of the lack of awareness about the importance of literacy in their life, scarcity of time due to involvement in bread earning activities, and finally, inertia towards learning new things. However, keeping the enormity of the problem and the importance of adult learning in the overall development of the country, individuals and institutions have always tried to explore innovative and suitable method of teaching adults so that target of 10% literacy can be achieved and the non-literate members of the society can be enabled to become part of a knowledge society. This exploration has resulted into a continuous process of evolution of a number of teaching methods in the wider realms of andragogy. Some of these methods have become redundant. Some are in use while some ways of teaching like Tara Akshar are yet to be recognized and documented formally, although it is an innovative and suitable for adult learning in view of sustaining their interest in learning the things and imparting literacy skills in shortest span of time, as it claimed to impart reading, writing and basic arithmetic skills within 56 days. As the subject has to accommodate a lot of change with the ever-changing socio-economic and empowerment issues and dimensions of people across the world, innovation in the search for more suitable ways of teaching has to continue further.